finish, but there's going to be, I think we do have some time to kind of mingle afterwards and talk, so we're going to be out of here right now. Okay, soon, but I think folks will be around to talk story in the hall or as we're moving out. I just want to take a couple minutes to put kind of a point on this and close us out for the evening. And my name is James Koshiba. I'm a staff member of Kanu, Hawaii. The first thing I want to do is recognize the other members of the Kanu team in the room. There's some staff members and board members and kind of key volunteer folks here. So if anyone who's a staff member can please stand.
They're standing around the back of the room.
Wendy Kamiya, there's Alani Apio, who you met in the back. There's Karen Shishido, who's a key volunteer. Brent Dillabaugh in the blue shirt, he's a board member. Miley Neff over here in the gray is a staff member. Olin Lagan, who's taking all your pictures right now. And special thanks has to go to Kamale Kikabuno, who's our brand new community organizer who pulled this whole thing together. Just a couple of quick closing thoughts. I mean, I think we heard a lot of not just interesting information, but for me, kind of perspective-changing things. So some of the things I heard tonight that were encouraging was the fact that a small group of people can make a difference in the political process, and that group has to have certain characteristics. It can't just be any group. It helps if it's a diverse group. It helps if it's not a group of the usual suspects that are always seen out of the Capitol. And so the fact that we don't know each other, or that folks that are at the Capitol don't know the rest of us, I think is a good and encouraging thing. It helps if we're not sort of wedded to one specific issue and that's all we care about, and we go down with a single line about that, but we're diverse not only in kind of who we are, but also the perspectives that we share, and if we have kind of a broad commitment to stick together on something that goes beyond us banding together on a single issue. And it turns out that is a lot of what Kanu Hawaii is about and is trying to build. So I know many of you are members, but even for members, I think tonight represents kind of a new step and an important step for what the Kanu community is trying to be. Okay, so we're just over a year old right now. And tonight we probably crossed the 7,000 member mark. Okay, we get about 300 or 400 new members every month. And the idea behind this organization is to build a strong, tight-knit community of purpose that shares some pretty basic ideas and values. Okay, and I think the best way to sum it up is to say that we believe as a community that islanders ought to know three things better than anybody else on Earth. Okay, one is that we got to be good stewards of our natural resources because they're so obviously limited. Two is that we have to get along with each other because we can't run away, and so we ought to live with kind of a spirit of compassion. And three is that it pays to invest in the self-reliance of our local communities, because as isolated little dots and population centers, we know how dangerous it is to be too dependent. And those three things we can connect with not just on an intellectual or mental level, but we can connect with on an emotional and spiritual level because we live them in our daily lives. So the thing that most people know about Kanu, and probably all of us know about Kanu, is that it starts with a personal commitment to change. Right? Everything begins with a personal commitment that relates to one of those themes. Okay, but the bigger step that we're taking starting tonight, and the bigger step that we're trying to be about as a community, is again to be about this community of purpose, and different from an advocacy organization, and different in three important ways. One is, again, it starts with personal commitment, and it gives each of us a different kind of integrity if we're going to go out and advocate for something. So if I'm going to be an advocate for a plastic bag ban, I better be sure that I'm committed to avoiding plastic bags before I'm going to go and point the finger at somebody else and say, hey, you better do this, or legislators, you better fix this problem for me. Okay, so we're trying to embody that kind of integrity and that kind of spirit. The second thing is that if and when we speak together as a group, we hope that every time we make our voices heard through a demonstration or a letter or an act of protest, that it's combined with this spirit of personal integrity and an act of service. And I'll give you an example of that in 1 second. Okay, and the third thing that makes us a little bit different is we're not trying to just collect up names and send them off to the legislature. We're trying to empower ourselves and each other as a community to speak out on these issues that we care about. And we're trusting that that foundation of island ideas and island values has us all kind of pointed in the same direction. And so those issues that we tend to band together on are the ones that most of us in the room feel strongly about and agree on. Okay, we might disagree on 10% of the issues that come up, but those 90% and those core values are going to keep us together and to help us stick together even through those kinds of disagreements. So that's how we're a little bit different from other kinds of advocacy organizations, maybe very different from other advocacy organizations. My plug to you tonight, because this really, tonight represents our first step into this kind of activity, this kind of banding together to speak out about issues, is go to the website, kanuhawaii.org, and click on the Take Action tab. And what you'll see there is a couple things. One is you'll see a link to an article and discussion space that has highlighted 10 key issues at the legislature, okay? And almost every issue that's come up tonight is listed in that list of 10, okay? There's the Legacy Lands Act, there's the barrel fee, there's civil unions. But what it is it's a short description of that issue, some education about it, and an opportunity for our members to vote whether they agree or disagree with the position statement there and to comment on it, okay? And so please, all of you, go there, make your voice heard, register whether you agree or disagree with the position statement that's laid out there, and add a comment if you feel inspired to do so. The reason why that's important is because on April 27th, we're going to try to organize one of these group activities at the Capitol that combines service with a statement. Okay, and the general concept is we're going to be down there, and we're going to organize a team of volunteers that will go to every office and every person in the Capitol and offer them 2 services for free. One is we'll offer a light bulb swap, so if they bring in their incandescent